We'll now recite the Gatha on opening of the sutra on page 8 of the liturgy book. Gatha on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We carry on our adventure with the Mumonkan. We had a bit of an interlude last week, a cautionary moment, and now we're back on case number 4. So, I want to read you the last couple of lines of case number 2. Okay, we'll start with the paragraph. That evening, the master ascended the rostrum in the hall and told the monks the whole story, the story about the fox. Obaku thereupon asked, the man of old missed the turning word and fell to the state of a fox for 500 lives. Suppose every time he answered he made no mistakes, what would have happened then? The master said, come nearer and I'll tell you. Obaku then went up to the master and slapped him. The master clapped his hands and laughing loudly said, I thought the barbarian's beard was red, but here is a barbarian with a red beard. Case number 4. Wakuan said, why has the Western barbarian no beard? Oh, right. Mumon's commentary. If you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. If you become enlightened, it must be the real experience of enlightenment. You see this barbarian once face to face. Then, for the first time, you will be able to acknowledge him. But if you say that you saw him face to face, in that instance, there is division into 2. The verse, in front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding to obscurity, to clarity. Now, you'll see this over and over again in the koan system, where it asserts one thing, like mind is Buddha, and then the next koan is no mind, no Buddha. Why is it doing this? This is really important to understand as we're moving through the koan collections. Now remember, especially, you're saying that Heart Sutra every day, right? No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, phenomena, no ending of suffering, no old age and no ending of old age. So what this is pointing to, as we well know, is when the Heart Sutra opens up, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. And the koan system is our way of checking it. Are we really seeing it or not in our lived lives? Right? So the question could be, why does Rinzin not have a beard? Why does Jawan not have glasses on? Why is Yugen not wearing a black robe? Why is there no pillow on that couch? So of course this is a complete confounding of the mind and the senses, because obviously we're seeing a pillow and we're seeing a black robe and we're seeing red hair-ish. And we all know that Rinzin has a beard, right? But this question of no is so vital to our spiritual life. Because remember, we get into all kinds of mischief when we start thinking that our imputations are actually real. So what do I mean by imputations are actually real? That the name and even the cogitation before the name, when we start dividing up the world with our dualistic thinking, is actually the only way things are. So much of our practice is just sort of tenderizing our minds and softening our minds and softening all the edges. And it goes even a step beyond that, that this shunyata we can't say anything about it. Nevertheless, it's always present. The most we can say about it is this via negativa, right? This via negativa, that was a Christian theological term, or even, God is not. You can't, or in Islam, you can't make an image of God. So Zen is this direct path, as Bodhidharma said, direct pointing to the heart mind, direct transmission outside of words and letters, pointing directly to the heart mind. That's why we're using the body. That's why we're sitting so much. That's why we're wrestling with these confounding questions. Because somehow, some way, we have to find a way to just get that dualistic mind to just relax, settle down, return to its proper place in the ecosystem of our life, right? So important, because it tends to sort of like, really showboat, and just be right out front and lead the way. But after we've been sitting for a while and we've been really wrestling with this question of no beard in the obvious case and fact of there being a beard on Rinson's face, what is a no beard? That's where we got to do some digging. We've got to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Because this encounter with no beard, no words, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, that is what is freeing us from this samsaric, egoic kind of fixation of like, this is me, this is true. I, me, mine, that gets us into so much trouble. That causes so much heartache for ourselves and people we meet that we want to do this to or draw in to complete us, right? We say each one of us is perfect and complete, lacking nothing. How do we live that? And the key to being able to directly experience that full and completeness is to really wrestle with this no beard, right? Trust me, there is an answer. There is an answer to the koan, and there is a way to present it. And also, in the process of working on this, we also learn how to be intimate with whatever dream and thought and experience that we're having. Because once we know that Bodhidharma has no beard, we know that our thoughts are not thoughts. Our emotions are not emotions. We know that we are living the Heart Sutra. Okay, so let's look at the case a little bit. The case for Wakuan said, "Why has the Western barbarian no beard?" Mumon's commentary. If you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. If you become enlightened, it must be the real experience of enlightenment. You see this barbarian once, face to face. Then, for the first time, you will be able to acknowledge the truth. But if you say that you see him face to face, in that instance, there is division into two. The verse, "In front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity." So again, we hear these cases and they're so confounding, right? Almost like every line is like, what? But honestly, I wish it wasn't so hard. Perhaps someday koans in the future will be less obscure. But honestly, if they were less obscure, their capacity to heal would be totally drained out, because it's the dualistic mind wrestling with this illogical, seemingly illogical moment that we're asked to enter into, that we change, that we're transformed, that we come ever more into alignment with our Buddha nature. So let's look at the commentary. If you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. This is not obvious, actually. A lot of people say they practice Zen, right? All kinds of ways of practicing Zen. All okay, I guess. I don't know, because I haven't practiced all of them. I've only practiced the Zen that is in this particular body and heart and mind. But this is the one that we are pouring forth into your body, minds, and hearts. And when I was younger, I was like completely obsessed with authenticity. I was really into J.D. Salinger, Franny and Zoe, and Catcher in the Rye, and all of those. So I loved Zen because I felt like it really just stripped everything bare, and it wouldn't take any kind of facade as true. And I still hold to that. And fortunately for us, we do have this incredible tradition of the koan system so that we can kind of check it, right? People have all kinds of experiences, and they're wonderful and they're great, but we kind of put it through the chute that has come down to us for thousands and thousands of years, where the mind of one teacher has been checked by another teacher, and so on and so forth, down to us. That checking, along with all the other stuff, is what correct practice of Zen is here. If you become enlightened, it must be the real experience of enlightenment. Again, it's so easy to think we've got it, right? And in truth, our life keeps on pulling the rug out from underneath us. And how we fall, how we get up, that's the real enlightenment. And trust me, if we're falling and we don't know what no beard is, if we don't know what no falling is, we're actually not leading the fully authentic, dignified human capacity that we were born with. We're a little bit still on that hamster wheel that Roshi was talking about. that falling down. So the enlightened person falls down, and they know that falling is not falling. So that whole blame game, that whole who made me fall, who pushed me, blah, 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 is completely softened by the sacredness of knowing no falling. And I use the word sacred, that is a sacred fall. And it's also a sacred getting up. You see this barbarian once face to face. Then for the first time, you will be able to acknowledge him. So, entering deeply, deeply into this koan, we allow ourselves to just completely enter into the dream of the koan, the mandala of the koan, the atmosphere of the koan. And in just completely letting go into it, totally trusting that there's something that we will meet when we enter, completely just jump off the cliff, that blue cliff. This takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of dedication, effort, concentration, right? Because what is this talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Is this like the emperor's new clothes? Really, the guy doesn't have any clothes on, but I'm seeing a beard? I mean, what is going on? And we allow ourselves to be completely confounded, and at the same time, continually entering into the direct experience of the koan. This is also not boring. This is wildly interesting. This is the art of practice. This is like, this is better than a video game, right? So we meet Bodhidharma face to face. But if you say you see him face to face, in that instance, there's a division into two. So this is where the getting used to not always hopping on the language train, not always hopping on the language train of duality comes in. And this is where the practice comes in and the training. And this is where the koan is like giving us this bridge into this sort of other dimension of being ourselves and experiencing the world. And this other dimension has all the love and the compassion and the clarity and the suchness is all kind of just waiting for us there. But if we keep on trying to explain it, we're just still staying on the wheel, the rat reel. The verse, in front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity. In front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. So here we are, all fools. It says in the commentary on Mu, when you see it, you are like a mute person who has had a dream but can only know it for yourself. Right? And this is why you need a teacher, because the teacher knows the landscape and knows the place, dimension, whatever, however you want to say it, of this place of being in a dream and you're mute and you can't say a thing about it. But it's absolutely communicable and absolutely directly experienced. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity. So to even say the barbarian has no beard is already abstracting from the reality, the direct experience. So it's kind of interesting. It's not so much the direct experience of our senses. You know, I heard somebody on somewhere say, well, you know, there was really no pandemic. I mean, did you see people dying? Did you see people in the ambulance? That's what they told us, but it didn't really happen. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So things, just because you can't see it or don't know it directly, that means it didn't exist? That makes no sense. And now I've completely lost my thoughts. I was going somewhere with that, but I lost it. It went, woo! Yeah. You know, I turned 62 a couple of days ago, so I think it's happening. So you better, it's all downhill from here. You better get the best of me while you can. Okay. The barbarian has no beard. Oh, I know what I was going to say that. So in that instance, this no beard has nothing to do with the senses confirming or denying beardness. That's what the point is. It has nothing to do with the senses confirming or denying beardness. It has to do with the direct experience of that which cannot be spoken, right? That which cannot be spoken. So, yeah. You know, they say that the bodhisattva vows are impossible to fulfill. Talking about the Dharma is impossible to do as well. But nevertheless, we can feel the energy of it and we can feel the inspiration. I can tell, I'm just looking at your faces, I can tell that you're getting the juice, right? But that's all way beyond language. And that's what we're studying, right? Way beyond language. And then once we're kind of comfortable in that land of no beard, then we pick up a word and we say it, and it's got all of this aliveness to it, and it's communicating the fullness of our life. Form and emptiness. Emptiness is in form. Together. So the next time you see one of those Santa Claus images in your travels, you could say to yourself, Santa has no beard. That is a Santa with no beard. All right. Blessings all. Keep your practice strong.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. That concludes our service for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Brief announcement, due to the upcoming snowstorm, the temple building will be closed Friday and Saturday, and we may also be closed on Sunday, but we're going to wait and see what the weather brings before deciding to cancel Sunday service. Are there any other announcements? All right, please restore the Zendo.